It's just a 30-minute slice of comedy.
Minisode.
Just a little sample of what they usually bring you every week.
Minisode.
It's just Nathan and Brendan with a little bit of bull.
Shut your mouth.
I'm just talking about bull, Doogie.
Then I can dig it. Minisode.
Hey!
Hey.
Happy Black History Month, everyone.
Oh, let's try to keep this unpolitical or apolitical.
I like Shaft.
Yeah, I do too. I'm
Okay.
actually kind of intrigued by the new one coming out.
Ooh, Generations.
Yeah.
You're Nathan, right?
Yes, I am Nathan.
Okay, and I'm Brendan.
Hmm?
And this is a What Were They Thinking mini episode.
Yes.
Episode, you might say.
And we're going to further our discussion that we had last week about, how I mean, really,
No.
to understand the brilliance of Tyler
No.
Perry and comprehend how he's so much higher above than other filmmakers that
No,
it really
we're not.
it's just
We really
enthralling. What?
We're not doing that.
What?
No.
I got a whole format and everything written out here.
We're gonna
I
drop
talk
that
about
format.
Medea's family reunion, Medea goes to jail, Medea's witness relocation, Medea's family funeral that's coming out.
Medea's funeral? I'll
No,
watch that.
family funeral. I
Oh.
think it's gonna be like Death of Funeral, but Medea.
Ugh.
So
Nope, we're not doing any of that.
gonna go ahead and throw that
Yeah,
away.
just cancel all that. Just cancel that out.
I spent a week on that.
I don't know
I
why.
was gonna talk about Alex Cross.
Okay.
Even just when he's an actor, that he's still brilliant.
You-
When he was in Star Trek and everything.
You know that Alex Cross is terrible.
Lee entertaining, yes.
Is this a bit?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Alex Cross is one of those boring movies I've seen in a long time.
Every second Tyler Perry was on screen, I was like, this is what we've been working towards as a society.
I can't believe you're carrying this fucking thing over another week.
What thing?
Oh, Nathan.
Yes, Brandon? Well, since you want to scrap my Tyler Perry format, what shall we discuss?
So the new Shaft movie you were saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talking about that?
I can dig it.
Okay. It's got Sam Jackson and Richard Roundtree in it.
Ooh, and the new guy.
Very good.
Sam Jackson Jr.? No? No relation? Just a new guy? Is he like a famous dude? I don't think so, right?
I don't believe so, no.
So that's cool. It'd be cool if it was like Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Or Chadwick Boseman would be kind of cool.
Given what I saw him do in Message from the King, yeah, I think he could be a real cool guy, just dealing out the street justice.
I mean, motherfucking Black Panther.
Yes.
Or maybe like Rick Moranis.
Or Michael Cera.
Or Michael Douglas.
I only say that because of Donald Glover's bit on Michael Cera as Shaft is the only time I would be lining up to pay money for a Michael Cera movie.
Oh yeah, you have this weird hatred of Michael Cera.
I don't think it's weird at all.
It's a little weird.
Nope, he's terrible.
Okay. I mean, you don't even like him in This Is the End?
Okay. I might give a pass on that simply because he's playing an over-the-top version of himself. Yeah, in a movie where he acts.
What were they thinking? Oh, sorry. I just heard in a movie where and I got thrown off.
Right. I get it. I get where you're coming from. But it's a movie where he acts, and every other movie he just refuses to.
So not even like Scott Pilgrim?
Oh no.
You don't like that movie?
No, the movie's fine. I don't like him. Every time I see him, he's the same goddamn character.
How do you feel about? Hold on. I'm gonna sneeze.
Damn it, Brandon! I can't believe you sneezed.
Oh, God damn it, Vince McMahon. How did you get in here?
I heard someone was gonna sneeze, and I said, if you sneeze, you're fired.
Barbara Streisand's here, too.
I'm going where there's lots of lovers in the air.
Oh, thank God. Bradley Cooper came to save the day.
Hi, I'm Bradley Cooper.
Well, that's pretty spot on. You said it. That's reminded me of like Wayne's World, the Delaware bit.
Yeah,
Hey.
we're in
Delaware.
Delaware.
Yeah. Oh,
To answer your question earlier, Jesse Usher is the guy who's playing Shaft the Third.
Okay.
And he was in the Independence Day sequel.
Oh God.
Um,
Not that that's like. I'm sorry. That's an oh God is in like. Not that that's like the most horrible thing ever created, but it's pretty goddamn boring. Have you seen it yet?
no.
Oh, it's just like I hate. Okay, one of my least favorite things they do in a sequel is when the star doesn't come back. Like, which is like whatever. It's out of your control sometimes, right? So Will Smith didn't want to come back. I understand that completely. He doesn't need to do it,
Right.
But they do a thing where they're just like, do you know how they explain away his character?
No.
They say he died during a flight simulation.
So, not only did he died being a putz.
Right? Like, I think the only person that comes back is... Well, Jeff Goldblum comes back. I think. Yeah, he's back. Jeff Goldblum's back, and, like, that other, like, older doctor is back. That older scientist dude. And...
Harvey Fierstein?
No. No, there's someone else. I forget who it is. It's such a minor character. And...
Judd Hirsch?
Oh, maybe it's... Yeah. That's who it is.
Okay.
And Bill Pullman.
Right.
Who, he's also there.
I gotta say, for you telling me that is some straight up WWE burying they did for that character.
Yeah, it's like the producers were like, well, fuck you, Will Smith. Your character died a pussy.
And Will Smith's like, that's fine. I'm gonna go live with my millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, they basically did like the whole, like, they gave the CM Punk treatment where they're like, you know what? Brock Lesnar's going to hold the belt for longer than you. And CM Punk's like, cool, I don't care.
Yeah. It's
really, really, really don't give a fuck.
It's all staged and choreographed, so
yeah.
Let him hold on to that belt as long as he wants.
I kind of think
that's
that's...
a goddamn thing.
Not to go too deep into wrestling, because, I mean, we never do.
Never.
But I kind of do find that funny, where they do things to, like, kind of like they take away all CM Punk's records, right? Like
Yeah.
the belt thing, to have Brock Lesnar hold it longer.
Even his wife's.
Yeah, his wife's record. And, like, what do they think? Do they really think that either of them give a shit?
Again, but that's the old school Vince McMahon mentality.
Yeah.
Right? He thinks by doing that, it's gonna, it's gonna lessen CM Punk's, I guess, legacy, for lack of a better term.
Which, like, I only like people who have record-holding title belt reigns.
Right.
Jake the Snake was a hack. What title did he ever win?
And that's the thing. Back in, the 60s, 70s, and 80s and everything like that, that mattered to people who were fans of wrestling because, either kayfabe was fully in effect, or it was one of those things where people are whispering about it being, all a staged contest. Now, because everything's peeled back for everybody and everybody knows that, a title is just essentially, you saying that this person's the top of this division and the face for this portion of our show, but not necessarily someone who actually beat, in a legitimate contest, anybody else. The titles don't mean as much to fans. It's cool to see a guy get a nod of respect to say that, here's the title. This is in recognition for all the hard work you've done. I get that. But by getting that title and them saying that, you've already given them their legacy, whether their title run is 5 years long or a month and a half. Or in the case of Zack Ryder, one night.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it is a weird mentality to still have, like, haha, sticking it to you.
It's, that's how he came up. That's how he ran his business and still does, apparently. So he's going to stick with what he knows. I'm not to say that there hasn't been any sort of progressive thought from Vince McMahon and how that company is run and everything like that, but there's still some old guard type stuff that is going to stick around as long as he's sticking around.
Yeah. How did we get to that?
Irma Garrett, I don't know.
Oh, the Will Smith and Independence Day 2 thing.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, Independence Day, Resurgence, not recommended.
Starring the guy who is Shaft the Third.
Yeah, and Jeff Goldblum.
Right, that's how we got there. Okay.
And so, Nathan, you saw a movie recently.
I did.
And it was called?
The Prodigy.
And it was good?
It was good to a point.
Okay.
I'd seen the ads for the movie for the last few weeks, and it made out to be like, this killer kid movie. There's a twist to it, and it's unnerving. And I'll say this: the lead up to the final act, and more specifically the climax of the film, was good, really good. In my opinion, anyways. Like the dread that I got from the kid and the mom, who played by Taylor Schilling. Is that her name?
That sounds right, yeah.
One from Orange is the New Black.
She's an actress.
Yes, and she's the mom. And Colin Fiore's in it. It's fun. It's good. I took Patty to see it. We had to drive to Fredericton to see it because it was not showing here in St. John. And Patty's like, well, what do you want to do Saturday? Because my mother-in-law took the girls because my birthday's next week or last week, whenever this comes out. Last week.
Happy
2 weeks
early
ago.
/ belated birthday.
Right. So she's like, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I wouldn't mind maybe, doing a day trip up to Fredericton or Moncton, or maybe going to see a movie. And she's like, okay. So I started looking at the movies at the theater here, and I'm like, oh, that movie, The Prodigy, that I wanted to see, that's not playing here. That's kind of odd. I wonder if it's playing elsewhere. So I start flipping through, and of course, I checked in Fredericton, and it was there. So I was like, okay, well, we'll go to Fredericton and see it. And I got to have poutine at Smoke's Poutineery, so that was enjoyable. And like I said, the lead up to everything in the movie was enjoyable, but the payoff was not. I was really let down by the ending, and I don't want to give away too much of anything, but it's the same issue I had with Hereditary, where I like a comeuppance, and I don't feel that they delivered on that in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a cliche now. Because I remember when it used to be kind of cool. It was like, oh, a horror movie that ends with the main characters not succeeding in the end. That's kind of a risque thing to do. And now it's in every fucking horror movie.
Yeah, and I'm tired of it.
I know, I am too. Especially when it's like, I don't know. I think I was okay with it in Hereditary because I think I liked it a little bit more than you did. But yeah. I know you liked it, but you had issues with it. But I think I was more okay with it in that movie. But it's movies like The Strangers Prey at Night.
Yeah.
When I'm like, you could just end this. Did you see it? I don't know.
No, I haven't seen it because, honestly, I didn't see what everybody saw in the first one.
Oh, see, I kind of liked the first one, but I had seen...
Well, that's the way I would describe it. I kind of liked it, too.
Yeah.
But it wasn't... For some reason, when the sequel was coming out, everything I read about it was like, this is the movie people were clamoring. I was like, who the fuck was clamoring for this movie?
Yeah.
I feel they said everything they needed to say with that first one.
And I mean, if you want to see a good version of that movie, there's actually like I saw it for like one of the one year when I did the 31 Days of Horror for Halloween. There was a movie I saw, I forget what it was called, but it's like a French movie or something, and it was the same idea kind of as The Strangers, but there's a twist in it, and the twist is really good and unexpected. And it's only
High Tension, was it?
No, it wasn't High Tension. I really like High Tension though.
Yeah.
But it's an hour and 10 minutes. It's very short. But yeah, I wish I could remember what it was called. But that was like a much better version of that, which isn't surprising because like I mean, I don't want to sound like, put on my monocle and my fucking beret, but a lot of times when Americans try to do remakes of international movies, the international movies usually turn out better.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's some exceptions, like The Ring was pretty good, and like, I mean, I can't think of too many others, but...
But the Let the Right One In and Let Me In.
They were both, I think they were equally good.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that I enjoy The Departed better than the original. I think it's like I don't remember if it's like
Infernal Affairs.
Infernal Affairs. Yeah, it's a Hong Kong movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I enjoy Infernal Affairs, but I like The Departed quite a bit more. But there's very few. There's very few examples like that for me. So I think, like, yeah. I don't know. The Strangers, yeah, it was weird. It was like, I watched it and I was like, well, that was fine, but, I mean, I'm not like... God, I need to watch this.
I need to see more of that, exactly.
Yeah, and well, so yeah, so the thing with The Strangers Prey at Night is like, oh, okay, like the way. I mean, do you want me to just spoil it?
Go right ahead.
Okay, spoiler alert! If anyone hasn't seen The Strangers Prey at Night, do yourself a favor. You don't need to watch it. It's not that great. But basically, what happens is like the killers. Surprisingly, it actually caught me off guard with this, but
yeah.
One of the girls, the survivors, actually ends up killing all of the bad guys.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh shit! Like I didn't expect that. I thought they'd leave it open for another sequel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she kills them all off, and she goes to the hospital, and then all of a sudden the door opens and there's someone standing there, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? That doesn't even make sense. Because you just fucking killed off all the villains.
Yeah. And
now there's someone else just there?
So they're like, or are they like a murder cult?
Like, I have no idea. I don't know. Like, but you can't just like say, oh, NVM, there's another character. at the like minute 87 of 88. You know what I mean? Oh, that drives me nuts.
And I think what bugs me the most about the movie movies where there's no comeuppance is when there is straightforward none whatsoever.
Like Mother Superior, straightforward none?
Right. Just straight up none. When you go through the whole movie and you're expecting some sort of payoff for someone fighting the good fight, and there isn't any at all. That's bothersome to me, because I was like, then why did I watch all that?
Well, it's like you're just watching someone get tortured and then killed, and then it's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
I don't mind when there's a comeuppance, and then at the end they do the sequel tease.
I don't mind the sequel tease, but I don't like when the sequel tease is like, oh, the main character just got killed.
Yeah.
After they went through all that.
Right. Yeah. Like when you see Freddy's eyes open. Okay, that's a sequel.
Yeah.
But there was still a payoff for, the final girl.
You still got to see someone murder Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
Whether he comes back or not.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was put a stop to, and that it doesn't happen, and that's the endings. Those are the endings that bother me. It's because then everything I just wasted an hour and a half to 2 hours for nothing, for no payoff.
Fuck, man, even in Hostel, there's a payoff.
Yeah.
And Hostel Part 2.
Yes.
Like, and these are like known as torture porn movies.
That's it. They have to go through this stuff in order to come out the other end alive and having, conquered evil, for the lack of a better term. And then when you get movies where none of that happens, you're just like, what was the fucking point? Like, The Human Centipede.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a huge example.
Yeah.
Because literally, like, we go from... Yeah, it just ends and it's like, it's just as terrible as how it started.
Yeah. And
I mean, the movie too.
Well, yeah. But I get why it may have seemed like groundbreaking when it was first done. When they first started doing it, I guess, as a thing in cinema.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, it was kind of cool at first.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, well, that's interesting. I didn't expect them to end like that. No, that's kind of, wow, huh. But
look at that.
After a while, you're like, I'm not getting anything out of these movies because there's no payoff for any of them.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way sometimes when, like, if I'm listening to, I don't know, like radio play broadcasts or podcasts rather, where they're like the No Sleep podcast. I don't know if you listen to that or not.
A little bit, yeah.
But it's a really good podcast, and it's it's collected stories. When they have ones that just end, and I'm like, well, what the fuck happened next?
Yeah.
I appreciate that you think that is the culmination, but there needs to be more to this story.
This is why I'm not super into horror TV shows, unless they are like self-contained, unless they are like sort of like American Horror Story style.
One season's one story, yeah.
Yeah. And as long as the ending is like solid, I'm like, okay, cool. I can like deal with being kind of on the edge of a cliff at the end of every episode or every second episode or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like it's exhausting. It feels like you've gone through all that stress and then you're just kind of like let down.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm on board with that for the most part. Occasionally it works, but most of the time, I'm just like, oh, cool, another bleak fucking horror movie ending.
Yeah.
And I have no problem watching like bleak movies, like just like movies. I have to be in the right mood, obviously, but I'll watch a bleak movie, no problem. But like just like horror movies, I don't know.
Well,
anyway.
I don't like that's it. I don't mind, like you said, a bleak movie. If it's not a horror movie, it's just someone's kind of miserable.
Yeah.
They're the movie is just a slice of their life that you're witnessing. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
But if I'm watching a horror movie, there's clearly defined good guy, big baddie. The big baddie there has to be some sort of punishment or retribution for all the terrible things that the big baddie does through the entire movie. Has to come at the end. And if it doesn't, I feel let down. And I can already hear people say, oh, yeah, it has to. You're just saying that because that's the way people want you to feel. That's the way they want you to think. No, that's the way I think. That's the way I feel. If I'm watching people go through hell, I want them to come out someone to come out on the other side having gotten through it. Not being, oh, well, this was an exercise in futility, and now I'm dead.
Yeah, and it's just like not every fucking movie needs to end with a fucking sequel tease.
Right.
Like, just wrap up your story.
Yeah.
It almost feels lazy, like they didn't know how to end it, so they're just like, oh, maybe he's not dead. Yeah. What?
If we could, it's like what is it? Brain scan. Remember brain at the end with the dog was still there with the foot and everything.
Made no sense whatsoever.
No sense whatsoever, and that was just straight up done as a sequel tease and to make you go, wait a minute, was this real or wasn't it real?
And we got into that a lot because that made no sense at all.
Yeah. Or at the end of Freddy vs. Jason, when Jason's walking out of the water holding Freddy's head, and then Freddy's looks, okay, sequel, but I mean, those movies are known for that.
I mean, in that movie, that was also like a studio thing. I don't think they could have one emerge the true winner. You know what I mean?
I honestly, I wish that they could have done that. And I was really surprised that they didn't go with Freddy as a straightforward winner because, it's New Line Cinema. And it is, I mean, in all honesty, it's the house that Freddy built. I mean, every time I would see the New Line Cinema's logo, I would immediately think of Nightmare on Elm Street.
But I think the reason they couldn't is because it was a deal with Paramount.
Oh, no, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And I guess the only real way you can get away with that is by having Jason be a sympathetic character that has to fight Freddy. So it's okay when he comes out on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horror movies, am I right?
Yeah, you are. Especially nowadays.
Well, I mean, I'm curious to see how... what's that movie coming out? The Curse of La Llorona or whatever. I'm curious to see how that turns out.
Yeah, I saw the ad for that when I went to see The Prodigy, and I'm actually really intrigued by it because it looks like a pretty fun ghost story.
I really don't like the marketing, though, because on the poster it says, from the producers who brought you the Conjuring universe, and the way it's written... Mm-hmm. It just looks like it's trying to say that it's a Conjuring movie, and there are so many people while I'm working at the theater. There's so many people going up and being like, "Oh, a new Conjuring movie," and I actually make the time to go to the no, actually, it's not. Just so you're not let down.
It's just a James Wan movie.
Is it James Wan?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh well, I mean that's good, I guess.
He's producer.
Oh, okay.
That's why they can say it from the people who brought you the Conjuring universe.
So we don't know who's actually directing it.
Not off the top of my head, no.
Steven Spielberg, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he works with Blumhouse.
Yeah. Is it a Blumhouse movie?
I don't know. I just kind of assumed it was, but
let's see. How many Blumhouse movies have I liked? I liked Happy Death Day.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the new Halloween.
Yeah.
That's probably it. Truth or Dare was pretty awful.
Oh, that was fucking terrible.
That was devastatingly bad. What was the other one they did not that long ago? I don't know.
I'm looking this up now. I know they did one with Topher Grace. That one I saw on Netflix.
Topher Grace is in a God movie coming out.
Is he now?
Yeah. It's called Breakthrough.
Okay. Blumhouse is known for Insidious, Split, The Purge, Happy Death Day, the Sinister movies, Paranormal Activity, and The Gift. Ooh, The Gift is really good. Yeah.
Have you not seen The Gift?
I think I have seen that one. That's one with Jason Bateman in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really fucking creepy movie.
It is that's a great one. And that's one, okay, there you go. There's a good example. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen The Gift, people. But that's a good example of a movie that ends with a little bit of comeuppance, but a little bit of, unpredictability at the same time, and I'm perfectly okay with that ending.
Yeah.
Ouija Origin of Evil was the good Ouija.
Yes.
They produced Get Out.
That makes sense.
That's crazy. That's easily their best movie, then.
Yes.
Which has nothing to do with them, I'm sorry to say. That's Jordan Peele's baby, all the way.
It's unfortunate, though, they were involved with Unfriended and The Gallows.
I like Unfriended.
Ugh.
The Gallows. What the fuck is The Gallows?
That's like a found footage type movie where the kids are putting on like a high school production about, I don't know, some town story where somebody was hung, and it intertwines with a ghost story about a production for the same play that was done years and years ago, where someone was killed, and I think one of them was like I want to say the drama teacher, but it's just awful. It's not very good at all. Weirdest
thing I just read from Blumhouse. Okay, there's a lot. We're not just going to read off Blumhouse's Wikipedia page all episode, folks. Don't worry. But the last thing I just want to mention here, because I just read this in 2014, Blumhouse produced Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, sure, The Purge, Anarchy, okay, Jezebel, Ouija, and Whiplash.
Yep.
Not a horror movie.
No, but they're not all horror movies either.
That's true. Most of them tend to be, though.
Yes.
Also, a strong recommend for Whiplash if anyone out there hasn't seen it. Anyway, so Blumhouse's Wikipedia page aside, Nathan, we should do our big reveal of our next film.
Yes.
This is going to be, I'm not going to lie, this is going to be quite the palate cleanser for me anyway.
What you're talking about. I wish Patty had picked another Medea movie at this point now.
I could not do two of those in a row. Good God.
But if you remember, my hint last week was Yippee-ki-yay, Modem Fixer.
So let's listen to the trailer. Press the button, Frank!
Thanks, Max.
I'm doing America a favor. Is the country willing to pay for it?
FAA just issued a critical alert. The entire network went down.
Transportation system's crashing, and they just hit the entire financial sector.
You have no idea who you're dealing with.
I'll take it from here.
You just killed a helicopter with a car!
I was out of bullets.
Russo, check in.
Hold on a minute. Looks like he's coming around. You see that?
Yes, I thought I did it.
Hang on.
Officer McLean, I need you to behave.
Daddy.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go kill this guy and get my daughter. Or go get my daughter and kill this guy. Or kill all of them.
Did you want to say something?
Yippee-ki-yay, brother.
Why'd you bring a cop into my command center?
Command center. It's a basement.
Who is this man?
Well, there you have it. You better live free or die hard.
Or Die Hard 4.0, whichever.
Yeah. When I looked for it, it was called Die Hard 4, and I was like, what? I don't remember it being called Die Hard 4.
It was, well, okay. When it was originally being released, it was going to be called Die Hard 4.0 to go along with the whole motif that they're using with computers and everything. And then at one point, I don't know when, it got switched to Live Free or Die Hard, which is
the motto for...
Well, Live Free or Die is the state motto for, like, New Hampshire.
Does it take place in New Hampshire?
No.
What?
No.
Okay, we'll get into that because I have questions about that already.
All right. Well, looks like you've got a lead in for the little bit of trivia that's going to lead into the next episode for Live Free or Die Hard.
Yes, thank you, commercial pitchman.
No problem. Glad I could be here.
Hey, is Montrose there?
No, he's not. He doesn't do the mini episodes, but I'm more than glad to read the copy that he's provided us with.
Okay, go right ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, do check out Montrose Monkington III. You can see him on YouTube, Montrose Monkington TV. You can follow him on Facebook, Montrose Monkington III, Esquire, and Friends. Finally, you can follow him on Twitter at Montrose III. That's the number 3 RD. Thank you. More later.
And, of course, like our podcast, you can find us on all the podcatchers. We're on Podbean at www.ttpodcast.podbean.com. We're on Stitcher, iTunes / Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that stuff. You have a podcatcher app, we're definitely there. And if we're not, let us know, and we'll be there. You can also find us on Redbubble at redbubble.com/people/WWTT podcast. Patreon.com/WWTT podcast. We do have a Patreon page. You can check that out. Lots of stuff you can sign up for. And, you help us, we help you. That's how it do. You like that?
Yeah, very, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we're on Facebook, of course. Just search for us on Facebook. What were they thinking? And on Twitter and Instagram at WWTT podcast. Also, I sometimes forget to plug this, and I definitely forgot to plug this last week, but I also have another podcast called For Screen and Country that is about the top 100 British films of all time on the... wow, I bungled that. On the BFI Top 100. That's the British Film Institute's Top 100 British Films of All Time on For Screen and Country, which you can also find on Podbean, iTunes, and Stitcher. Thank you.
More later?
More later? And when I said thank you, my mind just naturally went to that.
It works.
Yeah. Copyright for. Thank God he's not around. You hear me? Do that? You're not going to tell him, are you?
No, I won't say a word.
Oh. Okay,
although
thanks.
the commercial pitch guy might.
No, commercial pitchman. Wait, hold on. Why is Robin Thicke behind you?
Well, Brendan, I think you should pay the commercial pitch man. Oh wait, that's Alan Thicke.
Former President Bill Clinton.
I really do love this episode. It was the last episode was actually better though. If I could talk about Tyler Perry's
somebody
genius.
get Clinton out of here. Get Clinton out of here.
I'm saying I love Tyler Perry.
Borschtys. Okay, come on, let's go. Let's go.
Hey, easy there, pal. I'm a
Take your
president.
sexy phone and get out. I'm glad Borschtys on my side.
Well, he is the ostracized one of the family, from what I've been told.
Well, we don't want to get into it too much.
No.
Hang around within earshot. What was that? Nothing.
Nothing, Borsty. Nothing.
Okay, I thought I heard the insult.
Nope.
Nope. We're
Not at all.
good. We're good. What else do I have to say? Oh yeah, so I guess we come to the end.
Yeah.
We've announced what's next.
Mm-hmm.
We did it, Nathan. We made it through another mini episode.
You got any questions?
I may have a few.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Oh, please.
Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
Live Free or Die Hard.
Yeah?
That's a good movie.
In my opinion, yes. But I've often heard people talk about it in very disparaging ways.
86% audience.
Right?
82% critics.
I know.
This is a good movie.
Apparently.
What are we thinking?
Don't know.
We're happy to have you with us this evening and want you to enjoy every minute of your stay here.
Listen to me. Please listen. If you don't, if you won't, if you fail to understand, then the same incredible terror that's menacing me will strike at you!
Are you ready to enter the sci-fi double feature drive-in? Every month we hold a special double feature with a very interesting theme thought up by your host, the conspiracy-loving Elisa, and yours truly, Jarrett the Kaiju Man Wegelin. We discuss giant monsters, little monsters, genetic abominations, robots gone awry, aliens coming to Earth, cryptids, and anything in between. So join us at the Sci-Fi Double Feature Drive-In Podcast every first and third Thursday of the month. And don't forget to stop by our snack bar first.
Hi, I'm Jay Batts.
And I'm Michael.
And we're the hosts of a very thought-provoking show called The What If Podcast. On it, we'll explore the big
and little
what ifs of life and steer our listeners toward a better understanding of the
real or hypothetical
situations we might find ourselves in.
Or not. On our journey, we'll learn interesting facts and fictions about the everyday world. And sometimes,
most of the times,
we'll dive headlong into rabbit holes that slide up against the subject and sharply turn away from it.
Come along with us. We'll have fun and learn something new together. New episodes release every other Tuesday. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Music, and anywhere fine podcasts are archived.